Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, how are you today? Now we are gonna presentation our group discussion. We are from group one, and before that, let us to introduce ourselves. My name is Putri Sulastri, and my friend.
Haula Abu Bakar.
Uh, my name is Sekar Kinasi.
Okay, let's get started. Geographical identities. Most British people identify themselves at one level with the larger political and geographical areas in which they live. The country's title for constitutional and political purpose is the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, with the short form UK and Britain being used for convenience. The mainland of England, Scotland, and Wales form the largest island with the political title of Great Britain. Next. Physical features and climate. Historically, Britain's physical features have influenced human settlement, population, movements, military consequence, and political union. They have also conditioned the location and exploitation of industry transport system, agriculture, fisheries, woodlands, and energy supplies. Some have been affected by government policies such as privatization and urban union directives on agriculture and fisheries. Next. England. England population consists mainly of undulating of flatland countryside with highland areas in the north and southwest. Eastern England has the low-lying flatlands of the Norfolk Broads, the Cambridgeshire and Lincolnshire Fens, and the Suffolk measures low hilly stretch over much of the country, such as the North Yorkshire Moors, the Cotswolds, hillier stretch of the country, such as the North Yorkshire Moors, the Cotswold, the Cane and Sussex Down, and the Chiltern Hills. Highland zones are marked by the Cheviot Hills. Between England, Scotland, the North Western Mountain region of the Lake District, and the Cumbrian Mountains. The northern plateau world of the Fennis forming backbone across northwest England. The Peak District at the southern reach of the Pennines and the southwestern plateau of Devon and Cornwall. Next. Wales population is highland country which moorland plateau hills and mountains which are often broken by deep ripple valleys. This outlook must contains the Cambrian Mountains and descends eastward into England. The highest mountains are in Snowdonia in the northwest, where the dominant peak is the of Snowdon. The lowland zones are recreated to the narrow coastal belts outside lower parts of the river valleys in South Wales, where two-thirds of the world's population live. The chief urban concentration of people and industry are around the bigger southern cities, such as the capital Cardiff, Swansea, and Newport. In the past, the highland nature of Wales hindered conquest, agriculture, and the settlement of people. Next. Scotland population may be divided into the three main areas. The first in the northwest and central highlands, Grampians, together with a number island of the west and northeast coast. Their areas are thinly populated but compress half the country's landmass. The second is the central lowlands, which contain and the fifth of the land area by 3/4 of the Scottish population, most of the industrial and commercial centers, and much of the cultivated land. The third is the southern uplands, which cover a number of hill ranges stretching toward the border with England. The highlands, with their large and broad coastline, and the southern uplands are not smooth, rounded areas since the original chain fountain have been worn down. The highest point in the central highland is Ben Nevis, which is also the highest place in Britain. The main population concentrations are around the administrative center and capital of Edinburgh, the commercial and industrial area of Glasgow, and the regional centers of Aberdeen and Dundee. The climate, isolation, and harsh physical conditions in much of Scotland have made consequent settlement and agriculture difficult. Next. Northern Ireland. Northern Ireland population has northeast sea, which is only 30 miles from the Scottish coast, a fact that has encouraged both Irish and Scottish migration. Northern Ireland has had border in the south and west with the Republic of Ireland. It has rocky modern coastline and is a central sparty plain and mountains areas in the west. Northeast and southeast, the southeastern Mourne Mountains include the highest peak, Slieve Donard, which Feet Hike, Lough Neagh, Square Mills, Burton's Farges Breakwater Lake and lies at the center of this country. Climate. The climate is mainly temperate, but with variation between coolness and mildness. Altitude modifies temperature so that much of Scotland and Highland areas of Wales and England are cool in summer and cold in winter compared with the most of England. In general, temperatures are lower in the north than the south, and national average temperature will reach 32 Celsius in the summer or fall below 10, 10 Celsius in the winter. Next. The main factors affecting rainfall in Britain are depressions, low pressure areas, which travel eastward across the Atlantic Ocean. The climate is mainly temperature but with variations between coolness and mildness. Sunshine in Britain decreased from south of north inland from the coastal belts and with altitude. In the summer average day sunshine varies for 5 hours in northern Scotland to 8 hours on the Isle of Wight. In winter, it averaged 1 hour in northern Scotland and 2 hours on the England south coast. Their statistics shows that Britain is not a particularly sunny country. Next.
So the next is agriculture. Soil vary in quality from the thin, poor ones of Highland Britain to the rich, fertile land of low-lying areas in eastern and southern England. Britain's long agricultural history includes a series of farming revolutions from medieval times. Today there are 2,239 farm units, reggae farms, small farms to help business concurrents, and many are owner copied. Next. Most of the other farms southern and eastern England and eastern Scotland grow arable crops such as wheat, barley, oats, potatoes, oilseed, rape, and sugar beets. It is productive in tertiary machinages and specialized. But after a poor profitable period on the early 1990, farming is now in crisis owing to the high flow of the pound, a well-informed price, and a series of distorted such as its coal. It's linked to CJD in humans when paper and food and mood disease animals have been lost, farming income has been seriously reduced, and many farmers have left the industry or turning to non-farming activities. And next is fisheries. Britain is one of Europe's leading fishing nations and operates in the North Sea, the Irish Sea, and the Atlantic. The fishing industry is important to the national economy and is centered on a number of ports around the coast. Next. The fish farming industry is a large and expanded business, particularly in Scotland, but employment in income from fishing have declined substantially in recent years. This is partly due to change in fish breeding patterns, and eradication in fish stocks because of overfishing. Many fishermen have become unemployed, and fishing town on the English and Scottish coast have such trends, but the industry still account for 40% of British fish consumption. Next, forestry. Woodland cover an estimated 9.9 million acres of Britain and comprise 8% of England, 70% of Scotland, 40% of Wales, and 6% of Northern Ireland. Some 35% of productive national forests are managed by the State Forestry Commission of Government Department and the rest by private owners. Next. Energy resources. Primary energy sources are oil, gas, nuclear, hydropower, and coal. The most important secondary source is electricity. Britain has produced an increased amount of its own energy needs. This is due to the growth in offshore oil and gas supplies, which make a crucial contribution to the economy. Multinational companies operate under government and extract this oil from the North Sea and newly discovered with Atlantic field. But because governments urge high extraction rates, the price of oil and gas will continue only into the early 21st century. Even though there is some dependence on imported gas and oil, coal is an important natural energy resource, but there are objectives to its use on pollutions and gas grounds. After eradication in the first and the close of in economic with its 1980, the coal industry was prevented and Britain produced most of its own coal need. Next. Alternative form of renewable energy are becoming more important. Electricity generated by wind is already operates, although there is opposition to wind farm in the current site. The use of tidal and wave power is being implemented on some coasts, and estuaries and solar energy is already perfect. With plans for more research, this and other forms of renewable energy are important for Britain's future energy needs, particularly as environmental concerns grow. Critics assure that emphasis or in research money is being devoted to potential alternative supplies. British domestic and interior energy use are still extravagant when compared to other Europe countries. Consequently, the profits of cheap and environmentally sustainable energy for both domestic and industrial use will be a problem from Britain in the future.
Okay, next, transport. Central and local government agencies are responsible for different roads in the road network. Motorways and trunk roads are the large element and carry most of the passenger traffic and heavy goods special. While the Labour government has cancelled some controversial road building programs in an attempt to cut the demand for road space and to pursue drive to adopt alternative methods of transport, new road building is still planned. Car transport is most popular and accounts for 89, 66% of passenger mileage, while bus and coach take 6%. Public bus service has declined, particularly in rural areas, because of increased private car usage and cost. Conservative government deregulated bus operation and most local bus companies have now been privatized, although some services are still operated by local government authorities. Increased electrification of line and the introduction of diesel trains such as the intercity traveling at a maximum speed of 125 mph have improved rail journeys considerably. Many railway lines and trains are old and need replacing. Privatization has not solved the problems of underfunding and lack of adequate service. A series of fatal crashes in recent years and the resulting repair of large sections of rail track cost chaos in the railway network and draw attention to the shortcoming of rail tech. It is a great the inadequate state of Britain's railway is due largely to underfunding, with expenditure being below European average. The British shipping fleet has greatly decreased from its peak year in 1975. The cargo market is now dominated by a small number of large private sector groups, but 77% of Britain's overseas trade is still carried by sea. Although passenger mileage has been such reduced, but may decline further because of competition with the Channel Tunnel. Britain's civil aviation system account for 1% of passenger mileage and is in the private sector following the privatization of the former state airline British Airways in 1987. There are other carriers which run scheduled and charter passenger service on domestic and international routes, as well as air freight service, all are controlled by the Civil Aviation Authority. Heather and Gatwick Airport outside London are the largest airports together with Standard in South East England and Glasgow. Edinburgh and Aberdeen in Scotland are owned by the predecessor BAA. They handle 73% of air passenger and 84% of air cargo. Expansion of existing airport and the proportion of new ones will be necessary if Britain is to cope with increased consumer demand and competition from Europe. But such projects are very expensive and controversial because of environmental problems. There is also discussion about plan conjugation in the case of overbreaching. In art, it is argued that the inadequacy of British transport systems stem for the lack of an integrated infrastructure of road. Government and regulators spend more public money. Also, the Labour government hopes to persuade the private sector to invest in the transport infrastructure in partnership with the state. Communication. Communication systems in Britain are also divided between the public and private sector. Telecommunication is one of the most competition and rapidly expanding sector of the economy. There was much criticism of BT performed after privatization. Also, some service problems were solved and it became an influential workforce. It has again experienced problem with its funding expansion programs. The stronger the stronger and most competitive growth in recent years has been in mobile telephone and service purposes of the internet. Attitude to the environment. There is considerable public concern about pollution, traffic congestion, the quality of the natural habitat, the use of energy source, and safety of agricultural product. Uh, 1997 Mo report reported that 16% of respondents felt the environmental problems damage their health. A majority said that environmental protection should rate higher than economic growth. Air pollution in Britain is caused by factories and power stations discharging pollutants into the air and by emission from cars, buses, and lorries. Also, pollution was reduced by Clean Air Acts in the 1915 and 1916. It still reaches harmful levels, particularly in summer when pollution makes sunshine and still humid conditions to produce high ozone level. Britons are awfully dependent on the car. An alternative has been neglected. The car is now seen as the greatest transport problem, and the Labour government instead to curb its unnecessary use. Ration road space in favor of bus, increase taxes or charges on car use in cities, and give funding to local SIM which improve public transport. There are other forms of environmental damage. Sea and beach pollution is partly caused by interest rates and toxic industrial waste being pumped into the sea by submersible companies, particularly the North Sea. Some rivers are polluted by industrial waste, toxic pesticides, and farm silage. His has caused public concern about the safety of drinking water from reservoirs, and the water companies have been pressurized to raise the quality of their service. Cases of food poisoning have risen sharply, and there are worries about standard of hygiene in the food and farming business. The BSE scares seriously after the consumption of beef and other meats and lead to a drop demand for a traditional food. Cases of food poison have risen sharply, and there are worries about standard of hygiene in the food and farming business.
So that was our presentation. Thank you. The explanation may be not be complete. Therefore, let's discuss with us. Don't forget to ask question on the LMS friends. So, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.